Today, our story takes us millions and millions of miles away from Earth, to a planet on the very rim of known space, affectionately referred to as a Rimworld. Before the story begins, I'll go through the game-centric details for those of you who want to know as much as possible. If this isn't you, feel free to skip ahead. We'll be playing Rimworld version 1 using the following mods. EDB prepare carefully to set our story up, defensive positions and sometimes raids go wrong to make getting attacked a little more enjoyable, and centralized climate control just for the convenience of it all. Some of these mods are backed up by Hugslib. Since our story focuses on the struggles of a small tribe, we'll use the Lost Tribe game type. Now, I am not what anyone would call a good Rimworld player, but we're not here to watch me play, we're here to tell a story. So I think Cassandra Classic is a good pick for this, who is metered in her sadism. But we will crank the difficulty up to Savage, which is likely an indication that our small tribe is doomed. But this is the Rim after all. For those who want to run a parallel colony, the seed being used is Exiled. Believe it or not, our story begins as closely as possible to the fully hostile colony of Triumph Forest, for reasons to be explained soon. Settlements cannot be directly adjacent to each other, but one more over will be just fine for our purposes. With no further ado, let's meet our colonists, all of whom are very quickly and fearfully leaving the animal handling colony of Triumph Forest. Chetta is a 24-year-old digger, born and raised in the Triumph Forest colony as a part of the Smoky organization. As a tribe child who grew into a digger, she has a burning passion for construction and mining. She has taken Gaka as a lover, and we will meet him next. As a child, Gaka was the sole survivor of a raid that destroyed his previous colony. A rare moment of good fortune on the Rim saw him delivered to the Triumph Forest colony, where he fell in with Chetta and her group of friends. Although he was being groomed as a lorekeeper, plants and animals are where his burning passions lie. Well, plants, animals, and Chetta. We'll come back to their relationship later. Next up is Aloga, another transplant into Triumph Forest. She was selected as a child sacrifice by her previous colony, but escaped, and learned to survive off of the land before being found by Traco and coaxed into joining the colony, and his bed. She quickly became friends with Chetta and Gaka as well, and found her calling tending animals. She also apprenticed with the colony medical expert. Traco is another Triumph Forest native. He grew up as childhood friends with Chetta, and has always been the protector of our group of 4, as is apparent by his fighting skills. He's also the intellectual of the group, with a burning passion for crafting that was woefully ignored due to his forced association with the brutes of the tribe. As mentioned before, he and Aloga are lovers. Finally, we come to Hamster, the 14-year-old daughter of Chetta and Gaka, and also the scandal that gives beginning to our story. She enjoys shooting, caring for plants and animals, and socializing, as expected of a teenager on the Rim, I suppose. Her burning passions lie in arts and crafts, and she has potential for social skills, so she should hopefully be a bright point for our little group. With all of our setup complete, the story can begin in earnest. For those of you who skipped the setup, welcome back to Storytime with Rimworld. The colony of Triumph Forest has been established for 3 generations, which is a notable achievement on a Rimworld such as this one. Everyone lives productive, mostly happy lives, assisted by the expert care of the medicine woman's herbs and the herds of healthy animals tended by the village as a whole. Chetta and Traco were friends since childhood, both born in the village and brought up in the traditional ways. During their early teenage years, Chetta was betrothed and married to the son of the tribe's chief, who was being trained to lead the warriors someday. Chetta was never particularly happy with this arrangement, but it was simply the way things were done, so she went along with it. A year later, a boy not much older than Chetta was brought back to the village by a group of hunters. He was the sole survivor of a raid that destroyed his village, and the stories he told of the metal men with their explosions enthralled Chetta and Traco. The 3 were soon inseparable. As they grew up, Traco joined the warriors, while Chetta became a digger, and Gaka trained with the village lorekeeper. Their lives seemed to be taking a comfortable path, and all were happy, although Traco frequently warned Chetta and Gaka about the things being said around the village because of their spending so much time alone while he was with the warriors. One night, while patrolling outside of the village, Traco happened upon a girl. She was surrounded by wargs, but the beasts scattered as he approached. After much coaxing, the same way he would tame a scared animal, he convinced the girl to return to the colony. She had no language, but with time and lots of attention, She learned and became an excellent apprentice to the medicine woman. She also fell in love with Traco, and he with her. Life continued for decades, with the friends remaining close, and Chetta eventually giving birth to a daughter, who her husband named Hamster. Late one night, Traco returned from a patrol to the sounds of grunting and crashing coming from Chetta's house. He rushed inside and was shocked to see Gaka on the ground, with Chetta's husband sitting on his chest, trying to drive a knife into Gaka's heart. Without thought, Traco attacked, seriously wounding Chetta's husband. Chetta rushed to his side, and as his blood poured onto the ground, she admitted to Traco that Hamster was actually Gaka's daughter, and they had been secret lovers since soon after Gaka arrived. This was finally revealed to her husband, and he attacked Gaka. Traco did not take this well. "Your secret affair has ruined my life. I'll be killed or exiled." Left with no recourse, the group quickly stole what provisions they could and left the colony of Triumph Forest, thankful for the cover of darkness. The group traveled through the night until sunrise, when they stopped to catch their breath and eat a meal of pemmican beside a mountain with a strangely flat wall. Traco stared daggers at Gaka and Chetta. "You've killed us all. We have no idea what is out here, and we can't hope to survive without more supplies than this." Uloga put a hand on Traco's arm. "Peace, dear. I know this area. I believe there's a place for us farther this way, but it's been years since I've been there, so I'm not sure how far." Chetta and Gaka both cast a hopeful look toward Uloga, and a hesitant one toward Traco, who just sighed at his lover. "We're lucky to have you. Some of us may be too lucky." The group began repacking their animals, and set off in the direction Uloga had indicated. Despite their desire to cover as much distance as possible, exhaustion overtook them, and they set up camp in a small group of trees, with the sun still bright in the sky. Uloga was the first to wake. It was only a few hours past midnight. After she cleared the sleep from her head, she whooped for joy, waking the others with her revelry. Traco leapt to his feet, bow in hand and eyes scanning for attackers. "What is it, Uloga?" Uloga smiled at him, spread her arms, and proclaimed, "Welcome home." A quick look around put a smile on everyone's face, even Traco. "This is amazing," breathed Chetta. "We can hide through this mountain pass. There's plenty of room for us and the animals." Eyeing the pass, Traco muttered, "It's a near-ideal defensive position. That's going to be important if we settle this close to Triumph Forest." Nodding, Gaka added, "It is close, but who knows if we will ever find a place like this one again." Uloga did a happy little spin. "So it's decided then? We're home?" Everyone nodded and began moving their gear through the mountain pass into their new home. They halted as a group until sunrise, when Traco pointed at the stockpile and called to Gaka. "How about you cut those trees? I don't want to sleep outside again, and since this is your and Cheddar's fault, you should do the work." Unable to muster an argument, Gaka did just that, assisted by an equally abashed Chetta. Their hard work produced a small stockpile of wood, which allowed Chetta to begin construction on a shelter. Despite Traco's harsh words, even he pitched in to complete it. As the bedrolls were being moved in, Traco approached Gaka. "Hey, your stories about metal men, they're all true?" "Of course they are," replied Gaka. "Then we should be able to figure some of it out for ourselves. I've always wanted to give that a shot." Chetta overheard and said, "I think I can make a space for you to do just that." And she began plans for a research table, grabbed a pickaxe, and went to mine some steel. Meanwhile, Traco began drawing up plans for defenses. "No one else is going to keep us safe, and we will be found someday." Protecting the supplies was also a priority, so the stockpile area had to become a warehouse. While they were at it, everyone agreed that the southern pasture would be designated as a haygrass area to keep the animals fed, and at Gaka's request, plans for a food preparation building were laid to minimize the chance of sickness. "A stove and butcher's table in the same room? We'll have to make that better. It's good for now, though." With all of the adults hard at work, Hamster spends her time getting to know the herd of deer that have been hanging around.
It would be so good to have our own herd someday.
Work continues until dark, when a visitor spots the colony and decides to pay a visit. Fortunately, she arrives just as Traco goes to bed. A relieved Gaka meets her at the gate.
Hello, I'm Boyle from Blackjack's Lagoon, Hendo faction.
She points to a Hendo patch on her shoulder and takes a long, purposeful look at the unfinished walls.
Are you setting up to stay here permanently?
Hendo was a faction that frequently traded with Triumph Forest, until Chetta's husband killed a Hendo merchant during an argument. He claimed it was an accident, but no Hendo traders ever visited again, so Gaka felt safe in speaking with her. Ah, Hendo, I know of you. As to permanency, who knows what the future holds. But for now, yes, this is home.
And what do you call your colony?
Actually, we haven't named ourselves yet. We're still very new. Please, let's do business. Gaka traded the stolen clothing and a pila that Traco had spoken poorly of for good medicine and some components that Traco might find interesting. He even managed to make a few silver in the deal. With the day growing late, all of our colonists retired for the night, certain that tomorrow would be another full day, but hopefully one with less running for their lives.